Many families start and set goals and end up not achieving them because of one thing. And that one thing is accountability. Today, day five, I will show you why and how accountability, family traditions make your reset last forever. So if you're a family that's been setting goals and you've not been able to follow through, or if you're a family that been setting goals and you've not been able to achieve this goal, today day five is all about how you can turn your goals into actions using accountability and family traditions. My name is Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. I'm a family psychologist. I work with parents, I work with adolescents. I also help families in building a thriving life. So, for the past 5 days, we've been talking about how we can reset our families. So, I started by day one by discussing what family reset is, why it's important, and how to reset your family using different approaches. And the first approach I discussed was you revisiting your family visions, you revisiting your family values, and checking if those visions and values are still relevant today. Then day two, we spoke about reviewing and revisiting existing routines, structures, and systems to know if they are still functional. And if they are not, what can you do to reset these systems? Then day three was all about analyzing the gaps between day one and day two, identifying the gaps between your vision, your routines, your values, and your structures, and creating goals to bridge this gap. And not only that, I also spoke on why goals fail and how to align your goals with your values and your vision. And today is all about how you can ensure that you're turning your goals into actions using accountability systems, using traditions, and also using follow through systems. So, as we're joining, I'd like you to go to the comment section and tell us where you're watching from. Let's have that conversation. I don't want to be the only one talking today. Let's go to the comment section. I've created a poll. I'd like us to respond to the poll. How many of you have created family goals and were not able to achieve goals, or were you not able to? So, whatever it is, just go to the poll, respond to the poll, and yes, let's go. So, also tell us where you're watching from. Okay, I have somebody already here saying Faith watching from Abuja. Thank you so much, Faith. Faith, as we're watching, please let's type where we're watching from so that we can have a very, very robust conversation. Like I said, I don't want to be the only one talking today. So, back to my conversation. Today, I'll be talking about how family accountability is important and how we can use this to create how can we use this to turn our goals into actionable or into actions. If you remember when the last session we had when we spoke about goals, I said for family goals it's important for us to have family goals and also to have individual goals, and also to learn how to align these goals together so that one goal does not suffer or one goal is not sacrificed or the altar of the other. So how can we what is accountability? Let me just even start with that. One of the things we need to know that accountability in families is not about punishment. Accountability is all about creating systems, creating systems that helps everyone to follow through on the commitment while building character, competence, and doing this with love, clarity, and accountability also strengthens the relationship between family members. It's very important that we know that accountability is not about punishment, as in, oh, you have to do it by force. No, accountability is being able to sell what you're selling, that is the vision you're selling to your family, and also being able to not just selling the vision to them, also being able to let them buy into the vision and being able to be committed to the vision. So accountability, family accountability is very, very important. family accountability is about having those um should I don't want to use word system again, but having a shared commitment whereby every family member take responsibility for the agreed goals and roles. Everybody in the family is answerable for their actions and behaviors. Everybody in the family is a support structure, not a police to another person. So accountability really is, how do we ensure that all what we have agreed to do, we will do them. So accountability is not about punishment or control. Accountability is more about clarity, consistency, and mutual responsibility. That is what accountability is. And it's very important that family members have systems, have things in place that will help them or let them be accountable to whatever goals they've agreed on. Also, how do you build up a follow up system that prevents the old relapse? That pattern of always going, that way, the ways we always go back to old patterns, relapse into old patterns, probably after a week. This is New Year now. The first week is going to be over. Maybe by next week, some family members want to go back to old patterns. How can we ensure that people don't do that? How can we ensure that people actually follow through? So, I want to talk about the different things we can do to hold ourselves accountable, how we can sustain our family goals beyond motivation. I remember I had a session with some young adults on Monday, and I was talking to them about self discipline and motivation. Self discipline versus motivation. And one of the things I said is that most times motivation works with our emotions, how we feel. But with self discipline works with a system. If you put systems in place, no matter how you feel for that day, you would want to carry out whatever tasks you've put on your schedule for that day because you are disciplined. And it's the same with the family. When we have systems in place, when motivations fade away, your system will maintain your family goal. Your systems will be like anchor to your family goals. It keeps your goals realistic and flexible, and systems will help you look at the progress, not necessarily the perfection. And these are things we need to put in place when it comes to turning our goals into actions. So I want to be talking about things we can do. How can we put system? What are the systems we can put in place in the home? One way we can put systems in the home to help us achieve our goals is to have tracking systems. Yes, things you can use to track the progress of what you're meant to do. Remember, I said it's all about progress, not necessarily perfection. So, what are the tracking systems you can put in place in the home? Number one, you can have visual charts where I will paste on the wall. Maybe everybody's house chores is on that big, like a command center where you have everybody's task is written inside. You can have your goals reviewed probably every week, maybe weekly check-ins or um monthly check-ins or daily check-ins. It depends on how you want it to be in your family. One of the things you can also do is to have individual check-ins, maybe each child checking in with either the mom or the parent. I remember I had a session with had a conversation with a lady yesterday, and she was like, oh, each time my my mom is always asking me, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And I'm like, yes, I've done it. Why you ask? Why is she? And I was like, she's checking in on you to be sure that you're doing what you're meant to do. And I explained to her that instead of you using your mouth to say, I've done it, I've done it, why don't you show her? Let her see that you've done it. So that's individual check-in. When you check in with in the children check in with the parents every day or at the end of the week, that is one way of tracking the progress. Then another thing we can do is using shared digital tools, especially for the older children or teenagers. You will have like a Google, maybe have like a Google sheet, maybe a Google like this Google sheet where everybody's tax is written in it, and as you are done with your tax, you go to the sheet and you tick it off so everybody in the family can see that, oh, you've done your tax. Then another way of tracking is also using like reflection journals. We can create journals for family members. One of the journals I created for adolescents is the Thriving Adolescent Journal. In it, we have trackers in it where you can where these adolescents can track what they're doing daily and weekly. Now, these are tracking method that helps you in terms of holding your children accountable. Then another thing we can do is positive reinforcement. That's another way in holding people accountable for the tasks. And what do I mean by this? Just deliberately be catching your children or family members doing the right thing. For every time you see them doing the right thing, and you use specific praise, this thing works a lot. It helps them to want to, oh, mommy actually noticed me doing it. Oh, daddy actually noticed me doing it. Oh, I want to keep doing it. When you say, oh, good job, I love when you do this. I love when it actually helps them to, it helps them basically. Then another way we can track our progress in the house is by having there are some other systems I want to discuss. There's some apart from you having a progress tracker, you can also do scheduled reviews, maybe every week or every day, at the end of the day, or at the end of every month. You have a particular day that you've scheduled to review your child's goal or to review the family goal. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. Then having a family agreement whereby you all write down the goals, everybody's roles, everybody's expectations, and everybody signs it. I think that one also helps. Then we also have parents modeling the right thing. So, as parents, you need to model accountability first. Be the first person to show your child what is expected of him or her. If rules are not written, if rules are not reviewed, if these rules are not discussed, guess what? It will never be sustained. I want somebody to type that down. If rules are not written, if rules are not discussed, if rules are not reviewed, those rules can never be sustained. Let somebody please write it in the comment section. Thank you so much, Faith, for being our scribe for today. Yes, thank you so much. Yes. So, how can we have accountability systems in the home? I spoke about progress tracking. I spoke about having family agreements. I spoke about having weekly or daily check-in, family members checking in to review. I also spoke about having like a responsibility or a family command center, like a family responsibility chart where everybody's responsibility is written on it and pasted somewhere. I also spoke about positive reinforcement, whereby we see your child doing something right and you commend, just praise the child. That will actually help the child to always want to do it. And I also spoke about role modeling, that as parents, when we role model, it helps a lot. I said also that when expectations are not written, when they're not reviewed, when they're not discussed, they cannot be sustained. And this takes us to our family tradition. So, what are family tradition? Family tradition is another way of ensuring accountability of family goals. And what are family traditions? These are intentional, repeated practice that reinforces your being together, your identity as a family, and also your emotional connection. And these traditions could be Christmas outings together, weekly meals together for connection, family, monthly family meetings together to aid communication, prayer and reflection time. This is to help our spirituality, our goals in terms of spirituality. Having game nights or shared hobbies, this would reinforce our recreational goals, and celebrating everybody's milestones and achievements. If we have a tradition around this, it will also help us to sustain those goals. So the spiritual goal, the recreational goal, communication goal, connection goal. These traditions would also help us. Then why are these traditions important? Having a family tradition is important because it builds emotional safety and bonding. You know, if I ask you what were the things you used to do when you were younger that you can still remember, what were the things you used to do as a family when you were younger and you can still remember? And I'm sure these are the things that owns you, that endears you to your family, right? Yes. So when you have traditions, traditions build emotional safety and also emotional bonding. Then it creates positive shared memories. I've spoken about that. It reinforces your family values and it protects families during stressful seasons. Having traditions is very, very important, and traditions can turn your routines into meaningful connection points. Meaningful connection points. So it's very important that we have accountability systems, we have family traditions, and also it's very important that we have follow-up systems. Follow-up systems include having scheduled reviews. I've spoken about that. Having open conversation with family members to address challenges early rather than allowing frustration to build up. And what do I mean by open conversation? Maybe you have certain days of the week where you all come together to talk about issues that happen in the home during the week. The earlier you address these issues, the better, because unresolved issues leads to frustrations, and frustrations leads to resentment and anger and all that. Then it's also important that we have to understand that when our goals are aligned with our values and visions, they're easier to execute. So when you have your vision and your values and you have your goals and you create structures, you create systems, you will create routines around these things, it's easier for you to achieve the goals you've created. So as family members, please remember, systems work better than motivation. Motivation fades away. However, having systems in place sustain progress. Something happened in my store today. So in my store today, I employed a new staff, and the old staff that just joined a few months ago, she was the one that was now training the new staff. And I was looking at the old staff because she's quite a young lady. And I was like, so how did you get to understand all these things so fast? She was like, because there was systems in place. There are things we've already put in place. So anybody coming is just like plug and play, right? So there are systems I've already created. So it's like the way you create systems in your organization is the way you also need to create systems in your home. Why? Because when you have systems, it sustains progress. When you have systems, it allows everybody to know what is expected of them. When you have system, it takes away confusion and stress, and and takes away chaos, but brings in more clarity and purpose in the home. So having systems are very, 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 very important. So remember, what is repeated becomes a habit, but what is reinforced becomes a culture. And how do you reinforce these habits? By having systems, by positive reinforcement, and also ensuring that your systems keeps you accountable. Now, I want to go into talking about the different how we can cultivate family traditions and rituals. You know, having a tradition, I spoke about that family traditions are those intentional things we do repeatedly to maintain or to unite or to build emotional bond and connection. Having traditions and rituals create belonging. Also, there's also continuity, and there's also positive memories that always last a lifetime. I asked a question. I said, how many of you can remember things you did when you were young? What were the things? Can you remember some of the things you did when you were young? Oh, thank you so much, Daniela. Thank you so much. If rules are not written, they can be sustained. Yes. If rules are not written, if they are not reviewed, if they are not discussed, they cannot be sustained. Thank you so much for joining. Sonny wrote, what is repeated becomes a habit, while what is reinforced becomes a culture. Thank you so much. I also spoke about the fact that I asked the question, I said, what are the things you can remember from childhood that is sustaining you, that you remember that, oh, I when we were young, this was what we used to do. But now that you're an adult, you guys are still doing that in your own home, not your parents' home. If you can remember any, I would like you to actually, write it in the comment section. Family traditions helps us to create a bond within the family members. Having a family tradition helps to build bond. Having family tradition helps to build continuity. It gives a family a unique sense of identity, and it also provides an anchor of connection even during challenging times. So, best traditions are very simple, they're repeatable, and they're meaningful. You don't necessarily have to do something big and expensive. And like I said earlier, having probably dinner together, maybe, I spoke about having dinner together, that would help in terms of connection, regular games in recreation, having communication days, sorry, open conversation will help in communication. Then also seasonal celebration, then also gratitude practice. I remember last year December we did a gratitude challenge on the parenting support systems platform, where I think we did a 20-day um 20 days gratitude challenge, where we spoke about how we can show our children to be grateful, but us also being grateful and thankful. When we put thankfulness into our daily lives, when you share gratitude at either meals, when you're praying or somebody is doing something, you're doing so thank you. One of the things I appreciate my children for is whenever we do things for them, they always say, Mommy, thank you, Daddy, thank you. Especially when we take them out for meals or we take them out for any fun activity. At the end of that fun activity or at the end of that meal, they always say, Daddy, thank you, Mommy, thank you. And it shows this is a sign of family gratitude. And I remember that before, when they were very young, they didn't used to do that. But my husband actually insisted that when things are being done for you, when things are given to you, you should learn to say thank you. And now it's part of our children. You do things for them. The next thing that comes out of their mouth is, oh, Mommy, thank you. Oh, Daddy, thank you. You give them money. And this is like a tradition. So your tradition should help you to bond together as a family. Another thing you can do under gratitude practices that you could create, like, I remember we spoke about a gratitude jar, things you are grateful for every day. Just write it and throw it in the jar. Days you are sad, or days maybe during seasons where they are challenging, just go and open up that gratitude jar and read what is written in it. You see how it will uplift you. How it will uplift you. So, final reflection. We've come almost to the end of our 5 days gratitude, sorry, 5 days family reset. We've spoken about a whole lot of things. We spoke about the creating your vision, your values. We spoke about having structures, routines, and systems, creating goals. I spoke about why goals do not get achieved. And today I spoke about how we can turn our goals into action by having an accountability system, having a follow through system, and also turning your goals into like traditions, because it will also help you. So the next step now is, let us go back. Let's reflect on everything you've learned in this 5 days. Start small. You don't necessarily have to implement it big. Start your implementation step by step. Just, you can pick two things you want to change and focus on those two things. Then you move to the next. I remember somebody posting something one day and person said that write out 12 things or 10 things you want to achieve for this year. Pick one item, focus on one item every month, and that you see how you end up achieving all those 10 goals at the end of the the year. And I think that is one thing we need to do. You don't have to have so many goals. No, just pick one at a time. You know, if it's the family goal is, oh, I want to focus on connection this month. Focus on connection. Do everything you need to do on connection. And guess what? It work. If you want to focus on, oh, communication, I want us to be able to communicate effectively. Pick another month for that. If you want to focus on emotional intelligence, oh, this month I want us to be more emotionally intelligent. Focus on that. If you want to focus on your children's academics, pick a month. And so you can just pick, start small. You don't need to do it very big, right? Then also remember, it's about the progress, not about perfection. So if you start and you see that, oh, you're not really achieving the goals you've set, it's not the end of the world. Go back and reset. Remember, I spoke about reset not just being at the beginning of the year, that reset can also be done when you realize that there are chaos or things are not going on well in the house. Go back and listen to all these videos I've created on reset, and it will help you. Now, for those who have registered, we have the family reset workbook or worksheet that we are going to send to your emails. If you've registered, like I said, these sessions are free. However, to get the worksheet, you need to register for it. So register, click on the link, register. And also, finally, I also want to talk about the Parent Connect Transformational Coaching Program. It's starting next week. And for those who have registered, all materials will be sent to you. For those who have not registered, please, there's a link on the I put a link up here. I pinned a link up here which we can actually use to register. That's the link. Please, let's register and let's be part of this Parent Connect Transformational Coaching Program. It's a coaching program that runs for 12 weeks. And like I said, I work with only 20 parents at every cohort. These 20 parents, you're going to work with me. I'm going to give you materials. I'm going to work with you in terms of building connection with the family. I'm going to work with you in terms of communication, setting goals, creating systems and structures, your family vision. If you remember, I said I also do family structure audits. We do auditing in our company. We help families to audit their systems to know if their systems are working or if their systems are not working. We have a whole lot planned for you in this transformational coaching program. All you need to do is click on the link that I've highlighted here, I've pinned, and we start our session next week. Let me check the date. I think it's going to start either on the 16th. We're starting on the 16th next week. So for those who have registered, worksheets, workbooks, everything we send to you. And for those who have not registered, please register. I don't know what's stopping you, but please register. I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined this reset program. It's been awesome. I've had an awesome time teaching. So when he sent me a message and said, "Wow, that's what you've been teaching is just been what she needed to learn and know more about." In fact, I said, I don't know how you do it. You've gotten how you get the energy to do this. I'll just say it's God's grace, and it's something that's been placed on my heart to do to help families to become better, to help families to thrive using evidence-based therapeutic methods. Everything I do is evidence based. We don't do anything just by everything we do here is evidence based. And as a family psychologist, every work I do is evidence based. I have theories, I have systems that I'm using, I have structures and systems. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who's joined. You can drop your name, you can send me messages. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of the family research program. Going forward is me focusing on Parents Connect, focusing on the parents who've registered so that we can, transform the lives of another 20 parents. So this program runs for every 12 weeks. Every 12, so it runs for 12 weeks every quarter. So this one is starting this quarter. is going to end by March. Then the next one starts in either July or May. No, it starts in May for another 12 weeks. So we have two, we run two cohorts every year, January and May. January and May, yes. So you can click on the link, please, to join us. We're starting on the 16th. So excited about it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and God bless you. 30 minutes. Yeah. Have a nice evening. Bye.